My name is Jim Broderick, and I've been an employee benefit consultant for 39 years. Something I discovered early on is that not only is the plan design important in controlling health insurance costs, but so is the way an employer funds these benefits. Most employers use the fully insured approach, in which higher premiums are paid to the insurance carrier, and in return the insurer assumes all responsibility for claims as well as the runoff or reserve liability should the plan change carriers or discontinue. Many of the extremely large corporations may take the fully self-funded approach, in which the employer assumes all the responsibility for claims plus the reserve liability. In return, the employer pays a minimum fixed amount for claims administration only, either to an insurance carrier or a professional third-party administrator. What I want to talk about today is a partially self-funded approach in which the employer pays minimum administrative cost, lower reinsurance premium cost, and assumes protected or capped claim risks. The employer would also be responsible for runoff or reserve liability, but also within a set limit. Typically, there are two forms of claim protection or limits that an employer will purchase. The first is specific stop-loss insurance. This is the maximum amount the employer is responsible to self-insure on any one individual covered under the plan. Claims that exceed this amount are paid by the reinsurer, and premiums for this protection are determined by the amount of the specific stop-loss level elected, as well as the experience of the group. The second protection is aggregate stop-loss insurance. This is the maximum annual amount that the employer is responsible to pay on the entire group. It includes all claims that are paid under the specific stop-loss level, and an underwriter actuarially determines what the expected amount of claims will be for the group for the plan year. Then, wearing both a belt and suspenders, which underwriters like to do, the expected claims are increased by an additional 25% to establish the maximum aggregate liability. Any claims that exceed this annual maximum amount are reimbursed at year end. Let's look a little deeper into how this approach actually works. Under a partially self-insured arrangement, an employer assumes certain fixed cost or the amount he will pay during the plan year, regardless of actual claims. These include administrative fees paid to either an insurance carrier or third-party administrator to administer the plan and to adjudicate claims, additional administrative fees to participate with a preferred provider organization in order to receive discounts when services are performed within that network, reinsurance premiums to provide the specific stop-loss protection, and reinsurance premiums to provide the overall aggregate protection. On top of these fixed costs, the employer is then responsible to pay all claims for any individual covered under the claim up to the determined specific stop-loss level, and the employer is also obligated to pay all claims that are under the specific stop-loss cap on the entire group for the year, but not to exceed the established maximum aggregate amount. Let's look at an actual cost or liability of an existing group health plan covering 220 employees. Keep in mind the actual plan of benefits, deductible, co-insurance, etc. are the same. We are only talking about how they are funded. Under a fully insured arrangement, the employer would pay $2,944,545 in annual premiums and have no further responsibility. With the partially self-funded approach, this employer elected an individual or specific stop-loss of $80,000 and also purchased aggregate stop-loss coverage. Annual premiums are $457,000, and in addition, the employer pays $188,187 for claims administration and PPO access. Total fixed cost of what the employer will pay no matter what the claims expenses are is just under $3 million with the fully insured approach versus $645,000 under the partially self-funded method. Of course, under the partially self-insured approach, the employer must also pay claims within the stop-loss limits. The underwriter of this client determined that the expected claims level for the plan was $1,864,397, bringing the group's annual expected cost up to $2,509,598, or almost $435,000 in savings over the fully insured approach. However, what happens if the group experiences an extremely poor claims year and reaches the maximum aggregate claims liability? Total annual cost for the plan would be $2,975,000, or $31,152 more than what the fully insured plan would have cost. Don't forget, however, our underwriter's belt and suspenders, in which reaching maximum claims means that the paid claims exceeded his expected amount by 25%. This makes it highly unlikely that actual claims would be this high. Also, think about the next renewal. If claims for the year ran $2,300,000, the fully insured carrier is going to request a substantial increase at renewal. The reinsurers likewise will increase the next year's maximum aggregate liability. The difference is the fully insured approach, the employer pays the higher premium regardless. Under the partially self-funded method, the higher maximum claims liability is only paid when and if actual claims warranted. This presentation is intended to be a brief overview on partial self-insurance and not a complete tutorial on the subject. To determine if alternative funding of your group health benefits makes sense, talk to your benefit consultant or feel free to contact me direct. Thank you for your time.